My name is Ryan Naus. I'm a Stewardship Ambassador. I'm a certified public health educator. I'm a dad, and I own and operate We Grow With LLC. Today we're going to be discussing the soil observation station. This kit is used to be able to take what's taking place outside and bring it inside so it can be observed and learned from inside the home. We utilize a glass dispenser so those visual horizons can actually be observed through. Oftentimes this stuff is taking place behind that wall, and so we're not able to interact with it in the same way. There's a specific construction which allows for this, focusing on different soil horizons. This enables us to incorporate different agricultural practices and understand how they apply at a much smaller scale, and then are able to see the reality of that scale growing throughout whatever their scale might be. So when we have a rain event, it really is about water infiltration. How much water can be pulled into that ecosystem, how much can be contained. If it's not able to be contained, then we're actually going to be dealing with a different type of erosion, horizontal erosion, where the water comes down and then goes through. Out. And this is why when we have streams and rivers, the water turns instead of crystal clear into that muddy mess. This is a sign of erosion. Now, in this habitat, the biology itself is what's creating structure. This produces natural glues that allows it to then hold that structure together. That structure is actually called an aggregate. So this aggregation is what then contains the biology, the mineralization, the different nutrient cycling that's taking place. And it's all in a form that's water soluble and available for your plants. So as an example, I'm going to now flood my system. This would be a heavy rain event, allowing us to then see the gas exchange that's taking place as the water or liquid is displacing that. From this point, if we leave this valve shut, we're actually having a system that will then go from aerobic or air breathing into an anaerobic environment. This is because even though we have rain, it has drowned. So it still ends up being dead. It's through the process of not only the biology, but also in its creation of the structure. If you see water sitting on the surface, you know it's not going down. Here you can actually see some of the gas exchange as bubbles come up and through that structure, allowing for infiltration into the below ground or below the surface environment. There's some really good gas exchange on the side here. We've seen this out in the field where you actually see the bubbles coming up. It's the same principles, same practices, just at a smaller scale. Now, once this has reached the saturation point, it means there's nowhere for that air space to be. This is now in the process of drowning. Now, I know what creatures are in here and they don't really appreciate this much. So I'm going to utilize the valve to show what would be then an extraction. You can see that the water is actually being pulled down through that structure and allowed to leave the habitat. You'll notice that the color of the water is kind of that humic brown color. That's because humics are a water-soluble nutrition. This material here can be looked at under the microscope to verify what biology is there. When we have increased structure and depth into our soil, this is the nutrition that then penetrates. This humic acid is also part of that creation of structure and changing mineral profile into soil nutrition so that it can be utilized by plants and more productive for people. If we did not have our ability to access this environment, this air breathing environment would have died. This is why soil CPR is so important, because if it's not breathing, it's dead. So one of the great benefits of using a soil observation station is that it's a practical tool to apply to your home, your houseplants, and the things that you're growing around where you live versus where you work. So with the water extraction through the system, we're able to pull that off and have a water-soluble nutrition extract. There's biology, there's other nutritional components. It's an amazing probiotic for your soils and your potting mixes. This then allows us to take that material and put it directly into our plants. It can be diluted and extended out in how many plants you're able to cover, but this process and principles are something you can apply both in your home and out on the farm. The much larger versions of these are applicable over broad acres and commodity crops, not just in houseplants. But it's a living system that supports a complete soil food web, and that's what leads to being regenerative. My name is Ryan Naus. I'm a Stewardship Ambassador. I'm a certified public health educator, I'm a dad, and I own and operate We Grow With LLC. We Grow With helps people to differentiate between fertilizer and fertility. We use products and services. We equip people with the observation tools they need, as well as the products that make their jobs easier, allowing them to turn dead dirt into living land at any scale.